Have you ever come across some really cute charms that you loved but you weren't quite sure what to do with them? In today's video, I'm going to show you a fun way to use charms of any sort, really, to make a sweet pair of earrings. Hi there, Sandy here. Welcome to another jewelry making video at keepsakecrafts.net. So I found these little starfish and these copper ones. I think I ended up with 4 of each of the colors. They were all on one strand at Michael's, and you get this antique gold, antique silver, and antique copper look. And they're beads. They have a hole through them, and they were really cute. But like I said in the intro, I wasn't really sure what to do with them. You could do the obvious, put them on a head pin, make a dangle, make a charm bracelet, but I wanted to do something more. I've made lots of charm bracelets. So I first started experimenting. I decided to use the copper starfish, and I told myself quite firmly, no turquoise, because that's been a classic combination for me lately. It's a classic combination of all time. Copper and turquoise just go together so nicely. I decided, let's see what other colors there are that will work. So I had this strand of crackle beads, and that gave me the opportunity to do some experimenting. And like I've said many times, if you want to make a visual decision about what color is going to work best, do it visually. String your beads onto head pins, add the bead cap, and then take a look. I don't really care for this yellow, and this blue is a little too pale to go with the color. The purple I sort of like, but what I ended up settling on was orange. Not usually my favorite color, but something about this particular shade of orange really looks good with the copper. So then I decided I wanted one more accent bead to go with it. And again, like I said, you make visual decisions visually. So I have, first of all, I wasn't sure what kind of spacer to have between them. There's a little daisy spacer, and there's these orange rounds. So that's maybe too much round. These Swarovski crystals is a 6mm. I'm not sure the name of the color. I'll have it for you on the blog post. I like that a lot. I like the contrast in shapes between the starfish and the round bead and the bicone. So I think it'll be that. And then I experimented with, let's see, I've got the daisy spacer. I've got this bead cap, which I think is going to be a little too big. Yeah, I don't really care for the way that looks. And then also these other little spacers that kind of look like 4 beads stuck together. That I like. So I'm looking at the profile and I'm pleased with that. Now you could just have it all on a head pin like this, but the problem with having it like that is, first of all, it's kind of stiff. It doesn't have a nice dangle, and also it's very easy for it to get bent. And then I have earrings that I've made like this, and I'm always trying to straighten them out. And by the way, just to show you, all right, I chose this little starfish, but there are so many other things you could do. Like here's a cute little bee charm, and if you have a twist punch, twist drill punch. I did a video on it. I'll link it up here for you. Screw punch, that's what it's called. So if you have a screw punch, you can just make holes. I think it makes 1.5 and 2.3mm holes, and it'll make them right through metal as long as there's enough metal there. And wouldn't that be adorable, especially if you like bees? That would be a really cute pair of earrings. The one that inspired me to do this actually was a dragonfly charm. You need to have a loop on both ends. What about a cute little birdhouse? Again, there's a loop at there's a hole at the bottom, or you could make a small hole with a screw punch. That would be absolutely adorable in spring colors. Or another beachy theme. There's all sorts of summery charms like these. Make a hole, or for this scallop shell, maybe make 3 holes in the bottom and make some smaller dangles. And here's one that already has a hole in the top and the bottom. That would be quite lovely in the right colors. Or even this kind of funky steampunk thing. I think this is Bead Landing from Michael's Found Objects, I think it's called. It's already got a hole in the top and the bottom, and that would be kind of a fun, different look. So all sorts of things that you could that if they don't already have a second hole, you could add one with a screw punch, or even this sweet little bird. This is actually a bead. It's got a hole going through it. Sitting up there would be adorable. So really take a look at your charms once again and see if you can figure out different ways that you can use them as connectors and dangles for earrings. But let's go ahead and finish this one. Like I was saying, instead of doing just a single head pin and having everything bent, I'm actually going to do it in 3 sections. Here's one I already did. I also experimented here just to show you which way the starfish goes. So should it go with the point up or the point down? And I settled on the point down because if you leave the point up, you have this kind of awkward gap between the bead cap. You could fill it with beads, maybe make a long stem of beads if you want, but I decided to have it with the point down. Also, that means that the eye pin is going to nest inside there and it will only turn so far, so I will have to turn the loop of my ear wire. If you can see that, I turned it just a 90-degree turn so that when you're wearing the earrings, the starfish stays facing front. So to make my loops, I'm just going to use my one-step looper. Push that down as far as it will go. Now sometimes the one-step looper, it leaves this a little loose. So for this one only, I'm actually going to go in with the round nose pliers. I'm going to choke up a little bit on the plier and make a bigger loop so that that wire end ends right there at that tip of the starfish. I want this wire to be snug inside the starfish so that this stays in place and doesn't twist. Like I said, that way when you wear the earrings, the focal, your little charm, will stay front and center. So you can see that loop is right there, and that means that that's nice and snug inside that bead. So for the next component, I'll need an eye pin, and on that I'll put my bead cap and my round crackle bead. I think these are 10 millimeters, maybe 12. If you're interested in the supplies I used, you should always click on the link in the upper right of the video or the description box, or it's in the bottom left, I think, at the end of the video in the cards. But there will always be several links, several ways for you to get to my blog post, and that is where I always have a complete supply list and links to products for you. And often you should take a look at that blog post. Actually, you should subscribe to my email list, because then you always get the blog post and the video emailed to you on the day I've uploaded it. And I always have more information on my blog post because I write it after I've made the video, so there are usually other things I've thought of after making the video, more details. Sometimes there's links to other things that you might find helpful. All right, so I'm just going to open that loop and attach the starfish. So I hope you've been inspired by my videos and benefited from them and enjoyed them. So many people have. You know, if every person who ever told me that they enjoyed my videos and learned something from them was a patron for $1, that would be amazing. I would be able to make so many more videos for you guys and do so much more. Alright, so now for the final dangle, the one that goes at the bottom, I've just put on my 6mm Swarovski crystal in my little spacer and one more loop and attaching it. But I was saying about Patreon. Patreon is a way for you to give back to creators that you like, artists whose work you enjoy, that you've benefited from. And not only do you get the satisfaction of knowing that these YouTube videos will be kept coming for free for everybody, but everybody who is my patron gets access to my patron-only feed, where I have chances for you to win some of my creations, bonus videos, templates, sneak peeks, sometimes special discounts. So if it's something you're able to do, check out my Patreon page. Okay, so there's that. Now I just want to take this, like I said, and give that a quarter turn. Watch out, sometimes these inexpensive ear wires will break off when you do that. It's not your fault, they're just kind of inexpensive and brittle to begin with. And then we'll just thread that in there. And see how now, because we twisted that, that starfish is facing the right way. And notice I used two different starfish. Because why be perfectly symmetrical? And there you have it. So be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Take a peek at my Patreon page for how you can get great rewards and help support these tutorials. Happy creating. Bye-bye.